Clarke County Board of Education will now come to order. We are short of some board members. I want you to know that they're just not purposely being late. There's an accident on the loop, and some of them are stuck in traffic. Well, we got two more.
They cleared it up.
They cleared it up?
Okay.
But we're going to go ahead and get started. Ms. McNamara, would you please call the roll?
Dr. Spangler, Mr. Payne, Mrs. Davis, Ms. Wright. Here. Mrs. Ellis. Here. Mr. Worthy.
Here.
Mrs. Williams.
Here.
Mr. Huff.
Here.
Mrs. Thornton. Here.
Okay, thank you very much. Do we have any amendments to the agenda at this time?
We do, President Worthy. I would recommend that we add an executive session for the purpose of superintendent's evaluation, and that we place that after H, personnel recommendations.
Okay, so that's an amendment. Any other amendments? Any other amendments? I need a motion to approve that amendment. Okay, moved by Mr. Huff and second by Ms. Williams. All in favor? Thank you very much. Okay. I need a motion to adopt agenda. Moved by Ms. Wright, seconded by Mr. Huff. All in favor? Thank you very much. At this time, I'd like for you to stand, join us in a moment of silent meditation, and we'll follow that with the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay.
What'd you forget? You have to go with the white one.
Again, I want to say good evening to Mr. Superintendent and my fellow board members. And we have a very special guest with us this evening, and also a former board member that we're going to recognize, Reverend David Nunley Sr. Would you please come forward? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I want you to stand right here beside me, David, and guard me, okay?
Okay.
Okay. I have known Mr. Nunley, Reverend Nunley, for approximately 37 years. And ever since I've met him, he has been involved in community affairs. When I first met him, he was a Boy Scout leader, and he did that for 50 years. He started the Martin Luther King Human Relation Dinner, and he also is a retired educator, and he served on this Board of Education for 18 years, served faithfully for 18 years on this Board of Education and serving the students of Clarke County School District. And I want to present something to you that is very special from all of us, Reverend Nunley, Reverend David Nunley Sr., in appreciation for your commitment to educating our students in Clarke County Board of Education from 1994 to 2012. Congratulations. Take that. And I want to give this to you. You can read that later. I'm going to give this to your wife, and I want you to take the walk so that you can shake all of the board members' hands and also the superintendent. Can you do that?
Okay.
All right. Okay. All righty. Is that it? Did he miss you off?
Yes, I do.
Reverend Nunley. Miss
I miss you.
All right.
How you doing? Good, I miss you.
I miss you.
Right here, Davis.
I'm coming.
Oh, he's good. He's good. Thank you, Reverend Nunley. Thank you so much.
Come on, come on. Watch out behind you. Sneaking up behind you.
You got
Watch
one
out.
behind you, then you go down the line. Now, David, you got some others on the end over there.
Come on down
okay?
this way. Go see Sarah down there and Terry.
Can I get you that?
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I sure enjoy sitting there. Every time we went to something, I had to sit there and write. It was so fun. Take care. Thank you for sharing.
Honor the work. Thank you so much.
You are very welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to work with
You made me cry, Reverend.
you. Take care.
Shake your hand again. Because you were very faithful to me.
It's an honor. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Mr. Superintendent?
Did you get?
That's Reverend Landley, if I can
Yellow and black.
just make a note, I can remember the Reverend Nunley when I first met this board. Gosh, that was just under 4 years ago, and became very obvious very quickly Reverend Nunley's commitment to children. So Reverend Nunley, you've got great recognition from the board and the community. What I would like to convey to you tonight is great recognition and appreciation from our students and our faculty. Your advocacy has been paramount to our kids being successful. They are who they are and what they're doing now because of leaders like you in our community, but leaders like you in our school district. But you would have to know that I'm sure if we reach out a hand and went out today and talked to a whole host of those that have graduated from the Clarke County schools, they would recognize that you have made a difference and been by their side at this board meeting every month. We thank you.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and move the agenda. Anissa, where are you? There you are. Okay, that's for recognition of achievements and awards.
Good evening, Mr. President, Mr. Superintendent, and members of the board. I am pleased to recognize many outstanding individuals in the Clarke County School District tonight. Honorees, when I call your name, please come forth, accept your certificate, and shake the board members' hands. First, we will recognize our Georgia Department of Education Reward Schools. The Georgia Department of Education recently named 5 Clarke County schools reward schools. That is, schools with the highest performance or the biggest academic gains by students in the last 3 years. This is the first time the state has identified the top 10% of schools with the highest gains, and having 5 of our schools in this elite category is remarkable and representative of what we are accomplishing district-wide. These 5 high-progress schools mean that these are Title I schools among the top 10% of Title I schools in the state that are making the most progress in improving the performance of the all students group over a number of years on statewide assessments. And the first school that we will recognize, and we have charts up here that show the growth, the state used growth from 2009 to 2011. And first we will ask Mr. Dwight Manzi, Brad Bowling, Shelley Fallows, and Liz Marchant to come up from Coyle Middle School.
Congratulations. Keep up the good work.
Outstanding work. Thank you so much. Thank you. Great honor for you. Thanks for everything. Good work. Good job. Thank you for everything. Awesome job. Thank you.
Mr. Wright.
Hey, how are you?
You're doing an amazing job.
And you can see several double-digit growths on the COIL chart. You might especially want to look at 7th grade math, went up 25%. And next, do we have anyone here from Chase Street Elementary School? Chase had a parent event tonight, and that school was unable to make it. But as you all may recall, they are a national blue ribbon school. So on their chart, you will even see where students were close to reaching that 100% point, in which they did receive several of the grades and subject areas. They did that this year. Next, Oglethorpe Avenue Elementary School. And Scarlett Dunn, the principal, was unable to make it this evening, and you can also see the growth demonstrated on their chart. Again, if you look in 4th grade math, you'll see a growth of 26 percentage points. So these are really significant gains that resulted in our schools receiving this honor. Next, Stroud Elementary School, we have Principal Ingrid Gilbert and Assistant Principal Antoine Sanders. Please come on up.
Congratulations.
And if you look, for example, at their math growth, you'll see double-digit gains in every single grade down the board, from 19 to 35% growth. And finally, from Whit Davis Elementary School, we have current principal Derek Maxwell and past principal Katrina Daniel. Is Ms. Daniel?
Congratulations, well done.
It's a great job.
Thank you.
Under Ms. Daniels' leadership, you'll see significant gains across the board. Again, look at math double digit every single grade. Congratulations to all of our reward schools. Again, this is representative of what we're doing district-wide, and we commend these schools for their continued growth. If you saw the charts from this year, 2012, you'd see even higher numbers. So congratulations to all.
And again, I want to as well congratulate those schools as well as all of our schools, because they're making that kinds of gains. But to put this in a perspective statewide, this is a new distinction as part of the new accountability system in the state of Vermont. But when you look at all the
Georgia.
I've done this twice. I don't know what that means. Oh, I know. I did this with UGA and UVM the other day, so I'm sorry. Okay, can I recover? But from Georgia, that if you look at all the districts in Georgia, that even the large districts, the Gwinnett's, the metro system, we had as many schools of any of the districts in this state receive this award, and we're at 21 schools. So if you look at districts with 110 schools and 20 schools and all showing 5 schools, I think that's remarkable for us. So again, just to put that in perspective for Georgia.
Okay, next we will recognize the Cedar Shoals High School Marching Band, the Classic City Sound. The band recently traveled to East Jackson High School to participate in the Georgia Contest of Champions. The band, color guard, drumline, and drum majors all earned a rating of superior. In addition, the band received scores of 90 or better in music and visual performance and drumline. These scores are the highest the band has received in the past 6 years. In addition, at the Georgia Marble Marching Festival, the band continued its tradition of straight superior ratings as well. And tonight we'll recognize the leaders. Drum majors Allison Johnson, Aaron Hassel, and Elizabeth Reese.
Good job, so I'm going to miss the show tomorrow night. Good job. Congratulations.
Band captain, Evan Arrington South. Evan.
Congratulations.
Brass Captain Connor Short. Drumline Captain Adrian Haynes had a conflict this evening, but we wanted to mention Adrian. Front Ensemble Captain Selena Hunn. The color guard captains were unable to attend, but they are Hannah Sanders and Sydney Lewis. And we also wanted to recognize a distinguished soloist. Saxophone soloist Asa Smith received the Distinguished Soloist Award in the Gold Division at the Georgia Marble Marching Festival.
Good job. Congratulations.
And of course, we also want to recognize the band director, Dion Muldrow.
Sorry, I missed the show tomorrow night.
Thank you.
Also on January 18th at the Martin Luther King Jr. Freedom Breakfast at UGA, the drum line from the Cedar Shoals High School Band will be the featured student performer, so you'll have another opportunity to see them at work there. Congratulations. Next, we will recognize the Cedar Shoals, and that you're going to see that as a trend tonight, Cedar Shoals High School JROTC. They recently won several awards at a state and national level. At the Campbell High School competition, the male team won first in water relay and second in Humvee pool. The female team won second place in rope bridge and cross country and relay, and the mixed team won third place in cross country pool. The female Raider team were also named Area 8 female champions. All of these teams then qualified to compete in the National Raider competition. Teams were present from as far away as American Samoa, Tacoma, Washington, New York, and Germany. The mixed team took a fourth place win in rope bridge, and the female team earned a variety of fifth place awards as well. Of note, Cedar Shoals was also the host of the entire event. Congratulations to all. Tonight we'll recognize the student leaders, Tyler Crow, Reginald Ford, Miriam Ramos, and of course the advisors, First Sergeant Antoine Clarke, and Lieutenant Colonel Eric Cleveland.
Impressive. Congratulations.
Thank you. Keep up the good work. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you much. Congratulations, Lieutenant. Thank you. I salute you. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Congratulations again. And next, we'd like to recognize two Cedar Shoals students for placing third at the Clemson University Foreign Language Poetry Declamation Contest. You'll probably remember consistently Cedar students take top honors at this competition. So tonight, we'd like to congratulate Maja Klos Gramajka and Anna Shramsky. And their teacher, Sally Dowling.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you. Good work, Mr.
Congratulations. Impressive. Well deserved. Good job.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Doing fine. Great work. Thank you.
Congratulations.
We also had several Cedar Shoals High School students qualify for the National History Bowl and B. Tonight we'll recognize both. Also, Bowl qualifiers were co-finalists and B qualifiers are at the top half of the regional field. In addition, the Cedar Shoals Quiz Jags finished second at the Autumnal North Georgia Scholastic Tournament, meaning their third straight qualifying for the national championship. And we have several students to recognize who participated in some and all of these. First, Abby Campbell. She qualified for the National History Bowl and B, and she is on the Quiz Jags team headed to the national championship.
Keep up the good work. Congratulations.
Yang Fang qualified for the National History B.
Thanks. Good job. Congratulations.
Evan Knox, he qualified for the National History Bowl and B. He was on the Quiz Jags, and he qualified for the U.S. National Geography Challenge to be held during the History B and Bowl Week in D.C. If he makes the top 4, he will get a trip to Japan to represent Team USA. So we are rooting for you, definitely. Brian Heredia, National History Bowl qualifier, and Quiz Jags team qualified for nationals.
Congratulations. Keep it up.
Jose Heredia qualified for the National History Bowl and B and was on the Quiz Jags team qualifying for nationals. And Grace Yu, Quiz Jags team, qualified for nationals. And of course, we have to recognize the advisor, Robin Richards.
Thank you for all your hard work.
Well deserved. Congratulations.
Great, sir. Appreciate it. That's a great job.
That concludes the student recognition portion of the program, and I think we need to give Principal Tony Price a round of applause because these are all his students. And now Dr. Norris Price has a special presentation.
Good evening, President Worthy, Superintendent Lanou, and board members. This evening, I have the great pleasure to recognize Mrs. Anissa Jimenez. Ms. Jimenez is an effective communicator who does an excellent job of informing the public of the many achievements and accomplishments of our students, faculty, and staff. During her tenure with our school district, she has proven herself to be a leader in using effective school community relations to build support for public education in our community and in the state of Georgia. Last month, Mrs. Anissa Jimenez was recognized by the Georgia School Public Relations Association at their annual conference with the following awards. The Silver Award of Merit in Electronic Media for the International Baccalaureate Video, and the Special Purpose Publication for the Program of Studies 2012-2013. The Gold Award of Merit for Marketing Campaign for the CNS Believing Bus Tour, the Marketing Campaign for the Athens Community Career Academy rebranding, the Gold Award of Merit for the Calendar 2011-2012, the Special Purpose Publication for Reaching New Levels brochure, the Special Purpose Publication for the Vision, Mission, Belief Statement poster, and the social media for the launch of the CCSD media on Facebook and Twitter. She also received the Best category, which is the highest award, for the 2011-2012 calendar, activities calendar, and also for social media. We would like at this time for Ms. Jimenez to come up. And she received a total of 10 awards at the state level.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to note my graduate assistant, Ben Elliott, through a partnership with Dr. Price's office. He does the television production in my office and was a huge part of the video for which we won an award. Victoria Presley was a huge part of the calendar, and Mark Tavernier in instructional services for the program of study. So I did want to note them as well. So thank you very much. Thank you. And finally, we will recognize our 4-star employee award winners. And these are individuals that can be nominated by other employees, parents, volunteers for their outstanding service to the school district and our students. And so first, honorees, I will call your name and I will read what your nominator said about you. Then if you could come up and shake the board members' hands. So first is Stephanie Anderson, and she is a homeless education program resource aide, and she was nominated for this award by Katie Wheeler and the entire school social work department. And here's what they had to say. Stephanie has worked as the resource aide for homeless education since the 2009-10 school year. During this time, Stephanie has served hundreds of the Clarke County School District's homeless students. She is instrumental in providing resources and services to homeless students in a way that goes above and beyond her job description. Stephanie is able to locate resources in the community that most people, including Katie, never knew existed. She spends countless hours advocating for our families and their needs and never takes no for an answer. She will not stop working until our students have what they need to be successful at school. And that's what Katie Wheeler said, and Shannon Lewis and the social work department said. In addition to her duties as the homeless education program resource aide, Katie is always willing to help the other school social workers in our department. Her knowledge of community resources and the relationships that she has built with these resources is incredible. Stephanie always has an answer to your question, and if she doesn't know, she will find it. She always has a smile on her face and goes above and beyond her regular duties to help in any way she can. We are so lucky that Stephanie is a part of our department. Stephanie Anderson.
Congratulations. Very good. Thanks.
Congratulations. Thank you for holding us.
Thank you very much. Thanks. Great. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Congratulations.
And next we will recognize Carrie Maxey, an ESOL teacher from Chase Street Elementary, and she was nominated for this award by Lisa Devaney, her colleague at Chase. And Lisa said, Ms. Maxey is consistently one of the most dedicated, professional, and knowledgeable teachers that I work with. As a frequent member of our response to intervention team, Carrie brings to the table a deeply informed and intuitive perspective on her students dealing with problems. She has often tried, on her own, many creative and effective strategies to support their learning. She is thoughtful in her comments about students. She is willing to try anything to help them. She is an advocate for them both as learners and as members of our school community. Her words and actions always reflect a compassionate heart. Carrie comes to meetings highly prepared. She is organized, detailed, and thorough in monitoring the progress of her students. She follows through on any suggestion made by the response to intervention team. It is a pleasure to pass her room, as her hallway is covered with engaging, meaningful, and unique assignments completed by her students. And now we'd like to recognize Carrie Maxey. Like I said, I know there was a parent event at Chase tonight, so I believe there were some conflicts. Next, Dwight Eberhardt from Transportation, and he was nominated for this award by Janet Stevens, his co-worker, and here's what she had to say. Dwight is the only conventional bus mechanic on duty every morning at 6 a.m., and that's when he's already on the go. He is always pleasant and never a grouch, even when he gets calls back-to-back for his help. All the drivers truly appreciate and thank him for his mild-mannered and friendly disposition. The Clarke County School District People Transportation Department is very fortunate to have Dwight Eberhardt because he is indeed a 4-star. Dwight? finally, Tammy Trular, who could not be here this evening, and she was nominated by her supervisor, Larry Hamill. She is a payroll assistant, and Mr. Hamill nominated Ms. Trular because from August through October 2012, she was in the position of handling the entire payroll process by herself. And during this time, she processed the semi-monthly payroll runs, answered email and phone calls, updated new and old employee records, and submitted both state and federal reporting records and transmissions. In addition, she processed bank transactions and other items that help payroll run smoothly. It's normally handled by 2 employees, but she was able to maintain the entire process until additional help to be secured. And Mr. Hamill said, "I greatly appreciate Ms. Trular's dedication and ability to always rise to the challenge." So we commend her this evening as well. And again, to the honorees, on behalf of the Clarke County School District, thank you again for all you do. You represent our school district and community so well, and we are proud to know all of you. Thank you.
Dr. Ledoux?
And again, I'll just echo as well the breadth of the work that occurs in this district, not just locally, but statewide, nationally, and internationally. It continues to, I shouldn't say amazing, because that's the expectation. That's what we do, that's what you do, but it is much appreciated, and it's just fabulous work. So we want to say thank you on behalf of certainly the district office and the teachers and administrators in the district. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you, Dr. Ledoux. We're going to move the agenda. We're down to item B, and item B, minutes of previous meetings. We had 2, October the 4th, October the 11th. Board members reviewed those minutes. I'll entertain a motion. Moved by Mr. Payne. Got a second from Ms. Williams. Any questions pertaining to the minutes? Any questions pertaining to the minutes? All in favor? Thank you. Motion passed unanimously. Dr. Ledoux, Superintendent's report.
First, just a reminder, you have your packets for your information. There's a letter in there that I'll talk about in just a minute, as well as personnel recommendations addenda and a job description, which is as a result of a grant. So this job description supports the Striving Readers Grant. But with that, we continue to have presentations under my report. The first is to Mr. Paul Chambers from AT&T. AT&T has been a phenomenal partner with us. I know we can call Paul and his company at any time, and the support is always there. So thank you for joining us, and ahead in advance, thank you for all you do for the Clarke County School District and our children.
Well, thank you, Dr. Ledoux, for allowing me just a couple minutes to say a couple words. I got to start by telling you that just to stand in the shadow of somebody like Reverend Nunley and all he has done in this community is something, and I don't think anybody in our community has any idea all that he's done for, you name it, all the organizations that he served. I've also got to tell you that I noticed that President Worthy, you were enjoying that whole Cedar Shoals recognition. And I got to tell you, as a 1977 Clark Central graduate, I found myself hesitating a little bit before I clapped for him, but I did. So
I beat you at the game tomorrow night.
There you are. I really come tonight in front of you wearing 2 hats. First of all, on behalf of AT&T and our 150 Athens employees, I want to tell you how much we appreciate your service to the community and to our children, to our customers' children, and being a part of this community that I grew up in, and this role is very special to me. The second hat I will wear in just a moment is as chairman of the board of the Athens Economic Development Foundation, and in just a minute you'll understand why I'm here and a couple of things that I'll say about that. First of all, on behalf of AT&T, you might remember that 4 years ago I stood in front of you and we committed $400,000 on behalf of AT&T to address the dropout problem in Athens. And pleased to say that that money has been well used, well spent from our standpoint. Rick Dunn and everybody that's worked with Rick have done, in my estimation, an outstanding job. I meet with Rick, as does an advisory board of that grant, about once a quarter. And Rick sent me an email last week that said of the children that they have identified as at risk and brought into that program, 86% have graduated or are still enrolled in school. And I think that's phenomenal. These were high-risk kids. So, great job. Second thing I just want to say is a great big thanks to Hillsman Middle School. AT&T has 6 work locations in Athens, and our one on Prince Avenue between Hawthorne and Sunset. We bought one of those big ceramic bulldogs, and we gave it to the art class at Hillsman Middle School, and we said, help us paint it, and they did, and we got to dedicate that last week and have the kids come out, and I appreciate Superintendent Lanou and President Worthy and Anissa and some others coming out that day. But just another way that sometimes the local business community partners with the schools, and we're just trying to do our part in that way. Second thing I just want to say real quickly is on behalf of the Athens Economic Development Foundation, I serve as chairman of that board, and economic development is an integral part, and we are partners with the school system in a couple of ways. First of all, when businesses look to relocate or to locate their facility, their employment center, they're looking at taxes. They're looking at favorable business climate. They're looking at available property, perhaps incentives, but right there in the top 2 or 3, they're looking at school systems. And a lot of times we don't even know that they strike us off the list or they add us to the list because they've gone online and they've looked at our scores and some of the achievements. And I can tell you that we're proud of the work of the Clarke County School District when we go to recruit businesses to Athens, Georgia. Give an example of how it comes back to you. We all know about the Caterpillar announcement. 1,400 jobs that will be coming our way on that site out there at 78 and 316 in the next 2 years. Another 2,800 supplier jobs that we estimate will come to the region because of Caterpillar. Caterpillar, we're so thankful for because of what they're going to do with payroll dollars and jobs. However, there were tax abatements involved, and so we won't be collecting the taxes from them, at least up front, like we would some other businesses. But let me tell you about a business that you may not have thought that much about, and that's Ethicon. If you read the paper, you know that we had the groundbreaking for Ethicon about 2 months ago. That is a suture facility that will open on Olympic Drive by the end of next year. They are a Johnson & Johnson company, and that represents that plant that we have recruited through Peggy Chapman and the Athens Economic Development Foundation, $178 million in capital investment. Now, why do I say that? That particular plant is only going to employ 85 people, although they'll make about $100,000 a year. Good paying jobs. But the reason I mention that too is you're in tough budget times. I don't have to tell you that. And you have been for a number of years. And the business community recognizes that. And there's a couple ways you deal with that. One is certainly to go to Atlanta and to say we need more money out of the state budget to come to local public education. And you do an effective job of that. But the other way is you can grow your economic base in your community to raise the tax dollars organically to give you the funds you need. Ethicon, when it is fully valued in 2 years, and I got this number from the tax office today, will pay the school system alone $1.4 million a year. So when you think about your budgets and you think about economic development, you need to think about this is why economic development is such an integral part of our community. They're not another restaurant coming to town just going to take money from another restaurant. This is a large company, Johnson & Johnson, putting $178 million in capital investment in our community. So it's why the Economic Development Foundation of Athens is doing the work we're doing to make sure that we are growing jobs and we're growing that investment base too. So I wanted to share that with you tonight as well. Thank you again for all you do. On behalf of AT&T and our employees and the whole community, I often tell people as a father who had a father who was on city council for 24 years and mayor for 3, I appreciate the kind of stuff you put up with. And there's probably no more thankless job that anybody in any community can ever have than serving on the school board. So tonight I want to thank you for doing it. Thank you.
And Mr. Paul, likewise, one of our goals this year as a board is to more clearly connect in pathways with economic development, recognizing the partnerships that we need to continue to foster and develop in order to provide the support we need for our community to be a vibrant community. So I think this is mutual, and it's going to take us a long way for Athens and Clarke County. So thank you for recognizing that. The second, Stacy Smith. One of the conversations we've been having for some time is is about nutrition. We have certainly this year a performance target around healthy children, talking about farm to table, and a number of real creative elements for our schools. And I'm pleased to have Stacy here to make a presentation.
Thank you for having me. I'm listed as Athens Farm to School, but really I'm here more as a mom and representing other moms. And I can't tell you how proud I feel to watch all those students in our community and all that they are achieving. I feel very proud of our school district. And one of the things that I think makes it possible for those kids to achieve is the good meal that they receive every day at school, because you can't pay attention if you're hungry, you can't pay attention if you're not healthy. And I've worked with Paula Farmer, has always been so great. And when you hear complaints about Farm to School, or you see Jamie Oliver on TV crying about some bad lunch that's being served, I feel happy knowing that that is not what our school lunch looks like, that our school nutrition department and Paula Farmer, they don't just put things on plates and forget about it, that they are going above and beyond, and we have a lunch here that we can be proud of. She was one of the first of the districts in Georgia to sign on to the Georgia Organics 5 Million Meals Pledge. So we just aren't getting a good healthy lunch, we're getting a lunch that helps boost our economy. We have local red meal grits are on the plates of our kids. We have local cucumbers. We have apples that are coming from Georgia, watermelons. She is always willing to work with us for our school gardens and figure out how to get kids not just on their school cafeteria plate, but the education behind it so that they are used to new foods. Our snack, our fresh fruit grants that she always gets for each of our schools. Our kids are learning about nutrition, they're well fed, and I think we have a school lunch we can be proud of. And what I've done as Athens Farm to School is I've reached out to our PTO, and we have a stack of cards here, and this is from, we weren't able to get all the PTOs because it's hard to get all the parents in the community together in 1 week. But they have signed these cards, and they appreciate what she is doing. And we also have this banner here. And we've been telling people about what she's done. This is your students, these are your parents, these are restaurants and farmers, and they are so happy with what is happening in our district and the work that you've done. You're great to work with, and we really do appreciate it, because I know you don't have to do that. Thank you.
Wow. Gotta do the walk. You gotta do the walk.
Thanks for everything. Thank you. Thank you. Wonderful.
They've come a long way with Triple E, haven't we?
Come over for lunch.
Thank you. Please do. Thank you.
Thanks for everything. People just gave it 4 years.
Thank you so much. Maybe.
Thank you. We weren't here. Isn't that great?
Thank you. Thank you.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your support.
Thanks for recognizing.
Thanks for registration.
Thanks for taking all that.
It's just water. Usually they call for that.
That's really awesome. I'm working with what we're
And Paula, as you leave, I just want you to know that that is so true, so right, and you do so much more than even that behind the scenes. But when we talk about being progressive in terms of creating healthy environments through our foods, I've never had a conversation with Paula that says we can do that, or most likely is that's already in progress. Usually things are already in progress.
I don't do it alone. There are 125 school nutrition employees that work really hard every day to make it happen.
Well, and that's correct, but it starts with leadership. But thank you. Thank you very much. Just a couple other recognitions. We're going to do some good news. I'd like to say, if you've looked at the new Athens magazine, it's a great picture. It's our Teacher of the Year, Steve Piazza. First of all, it's a great photo, great article. But again, recognizing the work of teachers is just wonderful. Yes. So you see one of these in the rack, pick one up. It's wonderful. The next probably also, we're not seeing Chase here. As you know, Leadership Georgia will be at their doorstep tomorrow morning at 7:45, as will a number of us. I wouldn't be surprised if they had a parent event, and also we're preparing for that visit, which we're very honored to have. And the final item I have, I am real pleased. In your packet, you will find that I just copied the letter. I was so proud of this particular accomplishment. And I probably cannot explain it in as depth as Dr. Price would, but what this really is we get audited for our individuals for IDEA. And since 2009, at least as recorded, we've always been in this needs assistant category for the disproportionate number of students racially either on IEPs identified or in discipline referrals and et cetera. And we've been working very, very hard on that area. And I'm just going to have you turn to it. I don't have it up on the screen. But if you turn to the last page after the very final page, it says District Determination Summary. In FY12, we have met all requirements. So,
great. Wonderful.
Dr. Price, do you want to add anything to that? You can.
It's a team effort, as you know, all of our teachers, support staff, district personnel, to make that happen.
But it's amazing to have all those checks as yes, and that final check of meeting requirements in terms of no longer being disproportional in the identification and discipline in racially is quite a milestone. And thanks to everyone. There's been a lot of work, as Dr. Price said, by a lot of people to get this done. But it's not just a lot of people doing the work, it's a lot of people doing the right work to get the right results, and we're well on our way. This is a very, very large accomplishment for our district, and that's why I wanted to share that letter with you.
Great.
And the final is we need to set up a date for a hearing. So after all that, I'm going to jump to a date that I haven't got yet. So I need to look at your calendars. I should have done this beforehand.
I've got a couple dates. I sent out an email about that. I'm looking at Wednesday, November the 14th. It could be at 8:30 in the morning, or Friday, November the 16th, either at 8:30 in the morning or 1 p.m. in the afternoon. If neither of those work, I have some other dates.
It said Wednesday, November the 14th.
Wednesday, November 14th, 8:30.
Okay.
I prefer the Friday.
You prefer Friday the 16th?
I'm good with Friday.
Okay, which time, 8:30 or 1 p.m.?
I can go with Friday. 8:30?
8:30.
Yeah,
I can't do 1:30, so I'll just miss that.
I'll go with Friday.
Okay, that's 4, I need 5.
I'll reschedule what I have Friday mornings.
Okay. So it's Mr. Worthy, David Huff, Allison Wright, Vernon Payne, and Dr. Spangler.
8:30.
Friday the 16th.
Friday the 16th.
Friday, November the 16th at 8:30 a.m.
Student hearing?
Student hearing.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
That'll work.
And that ends my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
It's a great day in CCSD.
You can continue to move the agenda. We're down to item E, report of current committees.
SPLOS 2 and SPLOS 3, that's a corrected August 2012, and for September 2012, and SPLOS 4 2012 reports. I'd ask that we approve the financial report for September.
Okay, recommendation to approve the financial report for September 2012. Moved by Mr. Huff. We have a second for Ms. Davis. Any questions pertaining to the financial report?
I do have a question. On the, I'm down for some expenditures. Is that for the GSBA for District 4? Okay, thanks.
That's not you, but
Yeah,
it's
well,
under your area.
I saw that it was the two.
Yeah.
Okay, but just wanted to make sure.
Any other questions? Any other questions? All in favor? Motion passed. Thank you very much. Okay.
GSB District 11, Director's Report. Mr. Payne.
To our superintendent and to Mr. Worthy, our president, and to the board, and to all those that's present. This is not a happy night for me. Tuesday night was a long night. Many tears were shed. I attended the watch at GSBA headquarters And as the result came in on amendment, the Constitution Amendment 1, we lost. And there were 3 reasons, well more than that, but there were 3 main reasons that we lost. First, we was outgunned. We had an organization from out of state and other individuals that contributed over $2 million to run all the ads that you saw on television. Not only that, but we, along with the teachers and all of us that supported, we only raised $100,000. So we was outgunned. We didn't have the finance, nor did we have the personnel to go into the various places, especially in South Georgia. Mainly we lost in South Georgia. We lost in Clarke County. We lost in Atlanta. And that's because of the board members' reaction for the last 4 or 5 years. The people there are just almost sick of the board, and they want some way out. And charter schools may be a way that they figured they could get out, so we lost. But I'm here to tell you tonight that Georgia School Board Association will be back under the Gold Dome, watching the legislature and doing everything that we can to make sure that every child in the state of Georgia will receive a quality education. These are some of the other reasons. Supporters raised nearly $2 million to promote the measure. Most of the money came from outside the state, much of it from companies that operate charter schools. Walmart, Harris, Alice Walton chipped in $600,000. Opponents, including teachers, organizations, managed to raise much less, $100,000. Former Governor Sonny Perdue, Governor Nathan Deal, and the state legislature have chopped the state budget for public education by tens of millions of dollars over the decade. And that's not a true measure of how much has been chopped. But if you look at QBE that was initiated in 1975 and is supposed to be totally, fully funded by 1978, we have lost over $25 billion that should have gone to education. So we're in dire straits. And let me tell you, all of the states do not take money from education. That's a #1 priority. And they chop it from other places. But Georgia chopped it from education. And so we are hurting. And with this passing the other night, this will further burden our school budget. The public school system will receive less. The more these charter schools go into effect, the less money we will receive in order to educate all of the children in the state. So this was quite a blow. Not only that, but you had in your, I had Mr. Gilbert to put in print, the state should be funding education at 60%. This is what QBE said that they would contribute. The counties would contribute 40%. But as of the report that I got from Mr. Gilbert, the state is contributing 43%. And we are contributing 56%. That's almost reverse. Over the period of years, that adds up to a lot of money. The other thing that I want, that's the bad news. The other thing I want to point out is the good news. 3 weeks ago, I had a chance to have dinner with the state school superintendent. And as I told you, he went from a politician to a statesman. And he is totally committed to educating every child in the state of Georgia. I've never seen anyone, and for a long time, we've been needing someone with his expertise qualified to lead the schools in the state of Georgia. And I think he's qualified, he's dedicated, and he's committed. And it was a very good meeting that we had here. And this is what, this is the report that he showed us in Atlanta at our meeting. All right. Yeah, keep going.
If we go back, just a little clarification, because we just talked about this slide. It really is good information about where our state is in terms of different metrics. And this is quality counts. You can look up this report as it analyzes different categories of where Georgia is performance levels. And I think it speaks well to the direction of Georgia and the initiatives that are occurring and the accomplishments. And so I think, if I'm right, you're going to see these slides.
Yes.
It gives a very, very different perspective of our state of Georgia than some people have. And again, it's important to look at data when we talk about the direction we're going. Again, in the AP results, the state of Georgia ranks 13th in the nation for the percentage of students scoring 3, 4, or 5 on the AP exams.
If you notice, Georgia is in all of those, in all of those showings, so not being left out.
And I think that's the significance of this, that when you look at each one of these data points, Georgia is green in every one of them.
Yes. And this is the last one. Wow. And we are the only one out of all the other states that participate in this SAT, ACT, AP, NAEP, NEAP, and NEAP again in reading and math and science scores. So that speaks a volume for the state of Georgia. We're very proud of that, and he's very proud. And this is what he talked about when we were in Atlanta at his dinner. And I'm just so happy because we have one individual under the Gold Dome who believes in quality education, and he believes in our children, and he's going to work to do everything that we can. So you need to keep him in your prayers as he struggles with those people under the Gold Domes who do not believe in public education. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Payne. Mr. Superintendent, you ready to move the agenda down to old business?
Old business. First, again, these are policies that are on the table. First, I'd ask that we remove the policies and regulations from the table.
Okay, I need a motion moved by Dr. Spangler, second by Ms. Williams. All in favor of removing these policies, regulations from the table? That's a unanimous vote. Motion passed.
They're all noted in terms of which are revised and which will be rescinded. I won't read those. I would ask that we approve the policies.
Okay. Recommendation. Well, let me get a motion first.
Sure.
Okay. Recommendation to approve these policies. Need a motion moved by Ms. Thornton, seconded by Ms. Davis. Now, questions, Mr. Hub.
I was just curious, reading this, the exemption of exams, final exams for 12th graders. It sounds great to me, but it doesn't affect the end of course test.
No.
I mean, it seems there's certainly language in there, but it didn't really make sense.
No, all the end of course tests are required.
State level.
But these are other exemptions in terms of this particular policy.
Okay. I think that's great.
Yeah.
I think that really.
It was an incentive, and these are the teacher constructed tests.
So then you have end of course tests that are standard.
Those are standard. They have to take those, correct.
State mandate.
These would be analogous, I guess, to those for all of us that went to school and took our typical final exams, that if our performance is high, we get exempt.
But then you also have to take an additional end of course test.
If it's for that course. There are only 9, not all courses require end of course tests.
Okay.
So these are for the courses that don't require end of course tests and use teacher constructing.
Okay.
It specifically says the OCT can't be exempted in the
That's right.
regulation.
Okay.
Okay, any further questions pertaining to these policies? Any further questions?
I thought there was a minor edit on page 54.
Which policy?
What policy?
It would be policy IHE. Page
That's the
40,
last one.
54, just a little minor, and at the very bottom, I think it should be 3B rather than 3E. And that's on
IHE.
That's the last
There's no
one.
3E, as I was looking at.
Say that again, Mr. Hunt.
On that very, and under 4, on A, it should be 3B.
Because E was stricken.
Well, I don't think there is an E.
There is.
There is, yeah, E is stricken, but B is.
A-B. Okay.
Did you get this? Where's this? I'm trying to find
It's
this.
on page 3 of policy IHE.
Page 3.
What page in the
Pack is 54 at the very bottom,
Okay, it's,
under 4A.
no, it's not that one.
It says students in grades 3, 5, and 8 who fail to meet the requirements of paragraphs
Right, so
2A,
that's the
2B,
reg.
and 3E are listed in 3E.
There's no 3E.
Well, 3E
Right
is
here
struck,
where it says 3E.
but 3B is still in the
There's
game.
no 3E.
Got it.
That's all.
It should be 3B.
Got it, thank you.
Got it?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good catch, David.
Okay.
All right.
Any further questions pertaining to the policies? Any further questions? Okay. Before I call for the motion, I went through a number of them. We aren't voting on the regulations.
That's
now. We
correct.
only voted on the policies, and we have 8 policies that we removed from the table. We all clear on that? Okay, all in favor? Thank you very much. Motion passed. Consent agenda.
G, recommend approval of the consent agenda.
Okay. Moved by Ms. Wright. We got a second from Mr. Huff. All in favor? Thank you very much. Okay, we're down to item 6.
In item 6, at the development meeting, we asked for more information. I'm asking that we approve the transfer of the remaining balances of 20 SPLOST 3 specific project accounts to the current Board of Education approved SPLOST 3 project accounts. And that would go to Technology First Phase, H.B. Stroud Elementary, Whit Davis Elementary, and Barrow.
Okay. All right, the budget transfer of SPLOST 3 accounts. Okay, moved by Mr. Payne. We got a second on that? Got a second on that, second by Ms. Williams. Any questions about this one? Budget transfer of SPLOST 3 accounts. Any questions? All in favor? Motion passed. Thank you. Item 7.
Item 7, and this was, the conversation at the last meeting was the fee of just over $500, that we would not charge that fee because that money would go right back into the sidewalk project. So therefore, we have made that change in the documentation. So I ask that we approve the acquisition agreement and temporary construction easement indentured for the Unified Government of Athens, Clarke County for the construction of new sidewalks along Henry Myers Road at Winterville Elementary School per the attached documents and survey. The temporary construction easement is approved at no cost.
Okay. Got a motion by Ms. Wright, second from Ms. Davis. Any questions pertaining to this? And I won't read this again. It's quite long. Any questions? Okay, all in favor? Thank you very much. Okay, and item 8.
In item 8 of the balanced scorecard, again, I want to thank the board members for their input as we went back and made revisions. Those were well taken and good suggestions for us. Thanks to Tim Jarbo, we've gone through and made some adjustments. We think these are reasonable. As you know, they're not always cast in stone, and we will continue to evaluate our balanced scorecard, and we'll probably add additional targets as we further develop our district plans. And just as an FYI, the school improvement plans are aligned with these targets, and I will be reviewing in the next couple of weeks all of the departments at central office in terms of their plans and their targets. So we'll probably have some additions that won't go up there, but I think the core of what we need is there. So I ask that we approve the targets for the 2013 balanced scorecard.
Okay, that's on item 8. Okay, got a motion?
I have a question too. I forget motions first.
Okay, let's get the motion first.
Okay.
You making them? Okay,
Yep.
moved by Ms. Davis, seconded by Mr. Huff. Okay, now,
And
question.
I just wanted to compliment the way that you put in the statement. Clearly, the numbers are coming for covering the ACT scores and the SAT, especially after the presentation, the slideshow we just had, that highlights that higher level of testing that we consistently do, obviously in the state, but also in our school district. So I appreciate the bracket and the scores and the way you guys have that in there. Thanks.
And if I could just comment, it's a lot of work of, this is Tim Jarbo and Mark Tavernier that really do the bulk of this work in concert with Dr. Price and others. But
It is a lot of work. There's a lot of tracking. That's good.
Okay, any further questions about the balanced scorecard? Any further questions? All in favor of this? Thank you very much. Okay.
Number 9, President Worthy, before I make a recommendation, because there were lots of questions around policies, I thought we would create a conversation about these policies before any recommendations are made, because once the recommendation, then you're going with majority. So because of the nature of these, I would ask that you entertain any conversation or comments about these policies.
Sure. Last week we had much discussion about some of these policies. And let's see, we have 10 policies and I believe about 3 regulations, but the questions came on the policies. And I promised you last week that before I entertain a motion in the second, that if you had any questions about these policies, we'll discuss it first, because once the motion is made in the second and put it on the table, then there's no debate on it. So any questions about any of these policies? Anyone have any questions about any of these policies? Go ahead.
Just as the chairman of the policy committee, I just wanted to reiterate, one, that most of these are rescinds, and there's really just 2 revisions on board policies at the top. And I would like to recommend that we keep moving forward with putting them on the table, and that I'm going to send emails out each week to remind board members to look at these. Remember, these are not, they're on the table for community input, but it's really our input, and that we can to have that input and discuss it at the policy committee, so that when we come to the next meeting, when these come off the table, we can talk about and bring forward the ideas that have come from the group to the policy committee on this topic.
Okay.
And that'll keep the dialogue going when it comes off the table about parts of these.
Go ahead, Ms. Norton.
So, yeah, I just want to make sure, for you to ask that question, I just wanted to be clear. I think I was agreeing with Allison that once it goes on the table, that we have these weeks that we can discuss and have input, because I do have some thoughts that I would like to share, but I'm willing to, move it forward, but I don't want to give up my opportunity to add or make suggestions.
Right. To make sure, I haven't talked to Ernest about it, but as far as the agenda for the policy committee, we're going to have a slot so that we can be discussing the input that comes from the board members, so that the dialogue is still going forward with the process of them being on the table, meaning that we are still moving forward with the topic. Between the superintendent evaluation and other big events this week, I don't know that anybody had the time to do the research that is necessary, but that gives us 4 weeks on the table, policy committee discussion, and then coming back out, if that's clear.
Well, one of the things that we talked about last week, if anybody had any questions of any one of these policies, going back to the policy committee.
Yes.
Now, okay, the very first one, and I'm going to speak on the very first one, policy BBA, and we can do this one of 2 ways. I'd be perfectly satisfied if you edit it tonight, but if you look at BBA, let's see here. Current president should yield the chair to the superintendent for the election of the president. The newly elected president should preside over the election of the vice president unless decided otherwise by a majority of the board members. Election procedures are as follows, and that's the procedures are okay. But I think that to write the superintendent in to do this, that's not the superintendent's role. I think that what we probably can do, the same as we would do if you have the president and the vice president absent simultaneously, you would designate a board member to preside. So you can do the same thing with this policy here in terms of the even year, when the president and the vice president is being elected. You can designate a board member to preside over that at that particular time. That's not an urgency on this because you only elect the president and the vice president the even number. So January 1st, 2013, we won't be doing this. But I feel like that is not the superintendent's role. That's board business there. Go ahead, Ms. Payne.
Mr. Chairman, this is how we've always done it. We have never asked the superintendent to proceed. On this. We've never done that.
Yeah.
It's as you have stated.
Yes.
That's the way we've always done it.
Okay, now like I said, now it doesn't have to go back to the policy committee. If you want to go ahead and edit it now and write in what I said, that's fine. But if you want to send it back to the policy committee, that's fine with me. But I think we need to change that. Go ahead.
Well, this is one of the policies that I did have time to research in the district. The majority of the districts that are on the e-solutions that you can do the search for, they either had the superintendent or the attorney presiding over the elections, because any school board member presiding over this election is a potential candidate. So this came from the superintendent, so I was happy that he accepted that role, because you guys obviously researched it too and saw that it was attorney or superintendent. But it's both ways, but that's part of the awkwardness that can happen or has happened in the election process, to have candidates for a position running the election, so to speak. So this is the kind of dialogue that we need about these topics.
You're exactly correct. It's 9 of us, and any one of us can be nominated to be the president, but I don't think all 9 of us will. And if a person is nominated, let's say, for instance, that we have already designated a person and voted on that person to preside over that, and then the person is nominated for the president, okay, then we can change that, etc. Because like I said now, and I understand what you said about other boards and whatnot. I talked with the attorney today, Mr. Benton, and of course now when I look at other boards and how they do things, we do it totally different. Not only different, we follow the law. And the other boards do things that get them in trouble. And I feel like that we need to do, like I said, with the superintendent, that's not his role. The same as it's not our role as board members to interfere with the superintendent's business of the day-to-day operation of his school district. Go ahead, Ms. Davis.
I had those thoughts when I first read this, but then in an earlier description of the board activities, by law, the superintendent is our secretary. And I assume that this was because he is an appointed position that he was able to carry out this responsibility.
No.
Okay, that's my input.
But he is
that's not the case.
But he is a secretary.
Go ahead, Ms. Payne.
No, we have never, the superintendent has never interceded in the election of a board president or vice president.
No, you don't do that.
No, and the way that Mr. Worthy, that is the way it should be, because once the chairman is elected, then he presides over the rest of the meeting to get the rest of the other officers.
Well, that's why we've got the board governance policies being reviewed, so that we can all have input and come back and talk about them.
Just from the superintendent's point, because I know when Mr. Hardo and I researched the policies, there were a lot that said superintendent. As superintendent, I don't have a strong affinity that I need to run these elections, and certainly really understand that there can be a difference and respect that it's a board function, and certainly if it went back and just simply placed the attorney back in that, and Mike, you're here tonight, certainly that's the way it's been done, and it certainly keeps a level of neutrality, because the question is on both sides, is the superintendent does its one position, and if a board member, that's sort of another position, but the attorneys, if they'll do it, is quite neutral.
But the other thing that you need to remember is that the Clarke County Board of Education is not set up like the rest of the boards of education in the state of Georgia.
Yeah, well, the law was read last week. Well, as I stated, I spoke to Mr. Benton today because I knew that he would not be here. And his recommendation was to do it exactly the way I said a few minutes ago, to designate a board member to do it.
Well, if it's just a matter of attorney, I mean, if the attorney's going to be here, I guess it's just a preference. I don't think you're speaking like somebody's going to take us to court and sue us.
No,
I think
I'm
it's just
saying
a
the role that
difference.
we play.
But I'm just saying, where's the I mean, could there just be a compromise? The attorney do it instead of dragging this out
Well, and speaking with him today.
Well, he's not here. He's not. Well, then we need to table this.
Well, put it. No,
we're not. No, you said that we could change it tonight or send it back.
Right.
We'll send it back.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, send the policy back to the policy committee.
Okay, so that involves BBA
Right.
only
That's correct.
at this point.
That's correct.
So,
I was going to hold my little comments because we got to go back here and work on this, but I really, really wanted, it wasn't so much about the policy, it's the procedure on how we elect officers. I just don't feel comfortable. When do we come in? We come in, it's that first, help me.
First meeting
in January.
First meeting.
Even years.
Even year.
Yeah.
And we come in and we elect a person, and there's no conversation amongst us on how those names come to us. And we've been in some embarrassing positions before. I would like in December, if people want to volunteer, I don't think we should get back into this lobbying type thing. I think people should put stuff on the table, and if they want to be the officer, let them be the officer. And that's always been my big concern on how we bring names to the board. And I'm going to be honest with you, I think the way we've done it in the past has caused some division. And I feel as though I've been a part of that, and I don't want to do that no more. And I think that, but when things are up above board and you know who wants to run or who you want to run, that we should have sometime before, we only get a week? It's that week that we come back right after the holidays. So I just would like to see us have something a little bit more transparent and giving us a little bit more time to whoever wants to be the president or vice president. Now, I'm saying that, and I'm going to put a disclaimer. I don't want to be the president or the vice president. That is not my intent. But my intent is whoever does want to be and feel qualified, that they are given that opportunity for the whole board to make that decision.
Thank you.
Yeah, and the benefit and coming from our workshops of putting this forward is not necessarily to capture what we do. We've made it's very clear what is in the state legislation that we have to do, and who presides over the election is not part of that. And this is the whole point, for us to have a dialogue on how we would like to do it. And if we would like to do it the way we've been doing it, then it would stay the same. But the dialogue needs to happen about ways but everybody's input. So this is good.
Okay, so we're going to send policy BBA back to the policy committee, so therefore we have 9 policies that we're going to place on the table. Going back to you.
That would be my recommendation. BBA, going back to policy, so we'll start with BBA-B and down. Recommend that those be placed on the table.
Okay, the recommendation from the superintendent to place those policies on the table. Moved by Mr. Payne, seconded by Ms. Davis. All in favor?
Can we discuss now?
Well, no, it's not debatable now, because see, we got the motion.
Put it on the
you
table.
make a motion, you make a second on that, and it's going on the table. It's not debatable. So therefore,
No, the rest of us got it.
Yeah.
what now?
Well, I missed the call for discussing anything else. We discussed the one you wanted to discuss, but where was the rest of it? I can hold my comments for later.
Okay, well, I call
you got
for
something
But I'm
to discuss?
unclear about when that would be.
I guess it's when they come off the table in
It's, or
December.
you are,
When they come off the table.
when they come off the table
Yeah,
in
you can
December.
discuss it then.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, when they come off the table.
so council, are you our Robert's Rules of Order? Is that correct?
Well, that's right. It's not a debatable motion. The motion either passes or it doesn't. If it doesn't pass, then
We can talk.
Could I ask
So are we voting on
question,
whether we put it
Michael,
on?
Folks, look, we got to follow parliamentary procedure. The motion been made, it's a second, and it's not debatable. We got to vote on it, and you can discuss it when it comes off the table in December. That's parliamentary procedure.
So if we don't vote for it, then
We can talk.
it's back.
No, I'm telling you, it's not.
So you're saying I gotta vote for this?
You don't have to.
They don't go on the table. If we vote no, they don't go on the table.
Okay, well, that was my question.
Right.
Then we can talk about them.
That was my question.
See, we doing it wrong now. We're talking, we should be voting, folks.
You're
Okay.
right.
Motion been made to place these 9 policies on the table. It's been seconded. All in favor, show your right hand. Who we got? 3. Okay. Well, they aren't going on the table then, folks. You bring it back in December. Okay.
Now, I think someone can make a motion at this point to put some other number of
Yeah.
policies on the table.
Well, you got 9.
Okay.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Let me make sure I was clear. Putting these on the table simply meant that they're there for public review as amended, and during that time we
Also,
do
yeah,
receive input, feedback on these motions prior to the vote in December.
Yes.
And until we put them on the table, we cannot receive input from the public or ourselves.
That's correct.
Right.
I am concerned about why we don't put these on the table.
Go ahead.
That's my
Well, I only got 3 votes. The motion failed.
Okay, I'm good. I got it.
But this is my point, again, about dealing with board policies. When other things come to us, they have been vetted out by staff or whomever, and then they're pretty much final when they come to us. These need to be vetted by the board itself. And so they should be openly, we haven't had that time to really discuss these, vet these out, and see how this benefits or could be made better for the operation of the board.
And it was mine.
And that's what I don't understand, how that can be done in a logical manner with one meeting that was so compressed with so many agenda items on there. It was unfair to the policy committee to really not have an opportunity to discuss this.
I'm going to let the attorney explain the parliamentary procedure at this point, because we need to follow that, folks, and then we'll proceed.
And you're still under this agenda item, and if a board member wishes to make a different motion under this agenda item to put some different combination of these policies on the table, that would be appropriate at this time. If no motion, if the chairman calls for a motion and none is made, then we'll move on.
And again, may I? Like, I'm new, so I'm trying to understand process. And what I'm getting out of, what I understood when I walked in the door was when we put things on the table, that's when they're open for us to receive comment, to make comment from the public.
When you said when you put things on the table.
Yes.
Okay. You're talking about after the motion has been made, the second, and then it's voted on.
They're on the table for 30 days, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And during that
I'm with you.
30-day period,
Yes.
we receive input from the public. We make our own comments if we weren't a part of the meeting before with the policy committee. So for 30 days, we have an opportunity to review these.
Yes.
And thank you, committee, for putting the references and all of the state laws and the regulations that we have to consider when doing so in here. Then in that 30 days is when we would have do our own research, and then we give feedback to the policy committee is what I thought I read, or did I make that up? I might have made it up. Okay, so we pass that feedback to the policy committee, and then we discuss it.
Right.
Now, the question is, when do we discuss it? And is it only at the December meeting when it's time to vote that we discuss it?
Yep.
Yes, when it comes off.
Because all of our discussions have to be public. And so I'm not sure, by not putting them on the table, it sounds like we're delaying even entertaining the discussion.
You're right. Well, we're discussing now because when I call for the vote, we have 3 people to vote.
But until we put it on the table, we can't discuss it. Is that right?
No.
No, that's not right.
Okay, so
we just discussed a policy.
Okay.
There's other ones.
The rest of us didn't get a chance to offer our
Go
input
back
on
to
other
my
policies
new
to be
board
discussed.
I
So
called
we're
for
not
the
being
questions,
consistent
folks.
here.
Nobody said anything. I called for the questions, and I was the last one to speak that I wanted to speak on BBA. So we have 3 to vote and 6 didn't vote. Now you can say again, Mr. Attorney, so we can move forward with this. We can talk about this all night.
Yeah. Well, I think some of the board members perhaps want to put perhaps some lesser number than 9 of these policies on the table. So if that, again, once that motion's made and seconded, that one's not going to be debatable either. It'll be voted up or down, but if you want to, if anybody wants to make that motion, that's fine.
Okay. I'm ready.
That's right.
I would like to make a motion that the policies, starting with school volunteers, down the list that are not board governance, be put on the table.
Okay, say that again. I want to be clear.
Starting with policy IFCD and going down, that's one. There's a regulation, and then there's the policy on use of electronic devices. We need to move that on. Child abuse and neglect reporting, and then the regulation that goes with that.
Okay.
I would like to make a motion. Those are not board governance policies.
Okay.
I would like to make a motion that we get those on the table.
So that's IFCD, okay, JCDAF, and JGI, and
the
the regulations are going on the table too.
Right.
We all understand the motion from Ms. Wright. We all understand that motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Payne. Okay. All in favor? Motion passed unanimously.
Excellent.
Thank you very much. Okay. Mr. Superintendent.
Just so I clear, so that we'll send these back to policy.
The other one, the governance.
No, the board ones.
Yeah,
Those
all the
go back-
Bs, all the
board ones
Bs.
are going back to policy.
That's correct.
Mr. Chairman, and everybody can attend the policy meeting.
Right.
Yeah, I said that.
Everybody can attend a policy meeting. And if you have some complaints or want to change it, come to the meeting.
Yeah, now you have 4 policy committee members. Ms. Wright is the chairperson, and we all can attend. And if you're not on the policy committee, you can discuss, but you cannot vote.
What's the date of the next one, Allison? Do you want to put it in the
Nope.
invite? Just
It's on the calendar.
December 3rd, 4 o'clock.
Google Calendar.
Thought I'd say it.
And there, that was
Okay,
it.
Mr. Superintendent, we're down to you on the personnel recommendations.
I recommend approval of the personnel recommendations addenda and the job description for the grant.
Okay, recommendation from the superintendent on personnel recommendations, addendum, and you said the job description. Okay. Moved by Mr. Payne. Got a second from Mr. Thorne. All in favor?
That was easy.
Okay. Thank you very much. Motion passed.
And then for specific, recommend an executive session for the purpose of evaluation of the superintendent.
Okay, recommendation to go into executive session. I need a motion on that. Moved by Ms. Davis, seconded by Ms. Thorne. All in favor? Thank you very much.